And good morning, everybody. It is Tom Chenault. I hope you're up and at 'em, and I hope your hair's on fire. I'm sitting here watching a Robert Kiyosaki video this morning, believe it or not. It showed up on my screen. So I thought I'd push play and see what he had to say, if it was anything news. And do you know what? It wasn't. It was the same thing he says all the time. That network marketing is the way to go. It's the wave of the future. And if you saw my Facebook page this weekend, Brenda Woodworth sent me an email about a TED video about young people and entrepreneurism, young people becoming entrepreneurs. And I'm sitting here thinking, what on earth are we doing? Are we trying to set up our kids to do what we did into dead-end jobs, or are we going to set ourselves apart and teach our kids to be pioneers? And if we are, we've got to teach ourselves to be pioneers. And the way to do that is to get into a home-based business and to get into longevity. And the reason I'm so crazed about it this morning is because I was talking to a friend yesterday afternoon who was talking against network marketing and saying, you know what? The reward isn't worth the risk. And I was thinking, why not? So I started driving into the conversation, and it all had to do with self-esteem and focus and getting started and believing in themselves. And we did a training on Saturday, and the same thing came up. Most of the time it was belief in ourselves, and most of the time it was focus, and most of the time it was training. And all three of those things are things that we can easily help you achieve. All you need to do is decide to hit that tipping point where you decide that you're not going to take it anymore. When you decide that the way that you're doing it just isn't going to get it. And it's not that hard to decide that. It's basically a shift of desire. It's a shift of, I am not going to have a life like this. Right now, Denise and I are looking at some stuff in our lives and we're going, man alive, it's not going to be like this. We're not going to accept this. There is no way on earth that what's going to go on is what's going to be. What's been going on is what's going to be. And all it becomes is a matter of making that decision and shifting it immediately. So how do you do that? Your mouth gets moving. How do you do that? You got to read those books on the website. You need to read Mr. Schmooze. You need to read The Power of Who. You need to read GoBobChris.com, those two books there. If you haven't done that, you're whistling in the dark. I hate to break it to you, but you're playing a game with yourself saying, I want to, but you really don't. Because if you did, you would do what the people that are making it in this business are doing. I was looking at another video this morning by this goofball named Jonathan Budd. And all he talked about was you don't ever have to talk to anybody. All you have to do is hit this button and have the systems take care of it. You know what? That is la-la land. There is no way in the world that this business is about that. This business is about relationships. You might be able to get leads into your system by pushing a button, by an infomercial, by whatever it is that's going to get you there from here. But at the time those people come in your business, if you're going to keep them, you're going to develop a relationship with them. So you might as well develop relationship skills. And then as you develop the relationship skills, guess what gets better in every area of your life? Your relationship skills with your family, with your children, with your mom, your dad, everybody in your life. What is wrong with that? Why on earth do people resist building relationship skills so much? And I ask you this, what more to life is there than the relationships that you have? When you really get down to brass tacks and you're sitting there at Thanksgiving, you're sitting there at Christmas, you're sitting there at those special moments in your life, you look back and say, all I really have is my friends and my family. So why are we trying to go get all these strangers in our life to build dynasties with when you've got the things that you love the most allegedly right around you called your friends and your family? Why don't you build something huge with those people? Or why don't you just use some of these, all these systems that you've got out there that you're developing all these leads with and turn those people into the kind of friends that can go deep with you? Because I promise you, this business is about going deep with people. I need to know what moves Ken Smith down in Brisbane, and Greg and Patty Arnold, and Early and Downey, and Lisa Barney, and it goes on and on and on and on. And why do I need to know what moves them? Because I need to know what gets them up in the morning and gets them going. I need to know what's going to separate myself, Denise, and longevity from the rest of all the noise out there called every other company and every other thing going on. And I promise you, it's that way with your team. What is your team getting from you? What kind of message? Are they seeing commitment? Are they seeing love? I saw some emails this morning from the crew that went over to Lake Powell, and they went to Lake Powell to do some water skiing this weekend. And the camaraderie and the family and the building and the teamwork. I read that and I thought, you know, that's the kind of family that we need to have every day in our organization. And I hope that you're seeing stuff like that and saying the same thing about your organization. Because while it's great to have Denise and I out here ranting and raving every day, when it comes down to it, what are you doing for your 4 leaders? What are you doing for those 52 people on your prospect list? How are they feeling different, separate, and special from the rest of the crowd? How do they know that you're going to lead them out of whatever's going on in their life to a better life? How do you know that? And the way that you know it is to go get those 4 books. And I don't make a nickel on those 4 books. I'm not trying to sell them to you. I'm trying to give you the technology and the access to what it's going to take for you to build the fundamentals of this business, to get in it every day and go bring in people and go bring in leadership and go bring in the tangible things that it takes to make one of these things float forever, because you want it to float forever. You want it to float while you live here in Longmont. You want it to float while you're living on the mountaintop in St. Thomas. You want it to float while it's in Brisbane, Australia, and you want it to float out there in the middle of Michigan. I promise you, you want your business to work while you're not. And the only way that you're going to do that is to build that infrastructure. The way you're going to build that infrastructure is with leadership. The way you're going to get leadership is to learn it, to hang around with leaders. Get on an airplane and fly to Longmont and stay a week and hang out with Denise and I. Do something that is so over the top, extraordinary, so over the top, out of the box, so over the top, something that you would have never done, and then see what you're going to get. Because that box called your comfort zone might not just be getting it. And what is it going to take to get you out of that? Maybe hanging out with some people that broke through that wall. Denise and I, we don't even know what a job looks like. If somebody said to us, Tom, you've got an income cut, you know what? I would never say, well, I got to go find a job. I'd say I've got to go increase my income stream. If something happens to one of you and all of a sudden a quarter of our income breaks out of longevity somehow, that's no big deal. We would have to go recreate that income with another part of the team somewhere. Because the way to do it is inside of this industry. The way to do it is inside of longevity. I love the initiatives that you guys have. I love them. Whether it's the infomercial, whether it's the trip to Lake Powell, whatever it is that you're doing to raise your awareness, to raise your lead generation, to do whatever you're doing, I am all for it. But at the end of the day, if you bring them in and then they leave, that is on you. You've got to figure out what it is that had you able to bring them in and why they left. And having that old cliche, oh, most people leave in network marketing. You don't understand, Tom. I do understand. Trust me, I do understand. But I'll tell you one thing right now. It's heartbreaking to me to have people lose that fire in their eyes and go find it someplace else because they couldn't get it from us. So I want you to think about that today. Where is your team? Where are you? What are you doing to make sure your team's glued in? What are you doing to make sure that you are on fire? Are you leading by example? Are you telling them what to do? Or are you showing them what to do? There is a world of difference. Tonight, Buzz Coffee, 6 o'clock, leaders meeting, 7 o'clock, opportunity meeting. Be there. Bring somebody with you. Don't even think about not doing that. And in your town, do you have a weekly meeting set up? Do you have a monthly training set up? Are you driving people to the cruise in October? Are you doing all those things that we're doing? Because if you do what we do, you're going to get what we've got. I know I'm a little wound up this morning. It's because I'm pumped up. I hope you can feel it. I hope you know it. I know every one of you can find 4 leaders. I won't accept that you can't. I know you've got it in you. You've got to know you've got it in it. If you could see what I see, there is no way in the world you'd be listening to that little voice between your ears saying you can't, or tell me the stories that constantly come out of your mouth. I love you all. Here we go. We're back. Have an unbelievable Monday.